Ladies and gentlemen, one of the weirdest movies of the 1970s still is not talked about in common verbiage in 2023 because it involved the film debut of Billy Crystal and the directing debut of Joan Rivers. Now, this is called Rabbit Test. It made 12 million at the box office on a 1 million budget, despite the fact it's one of the stupidest movies of all time. This American comedy farce about the world's first pregnant man was directed and co-written by Rivers and starred again Crystal in his film debut. This was after he was a popular comedian for a number of years and tried out for Saturday Night Live. It didn't work. This was the only directing effort by Joan Rivers, who also plays a nurse in a brief scene, while her daughter Melissa also has a bit part. Rivers' husband Edgar Rosenberg was producer. It was the only theatrical feature to be scored by the team of Mike Post and Pete Carpenter. Michael Keaton made his feature debut in this one in a small non-speaking role after doing TV for a number of years. The title is a reference to the Friedman test, commonly known as the rabbit test, a medical procedure used for several decades in the 20th century to determine pregnancy. Now, Lionel Carpenter, played by Crystal, is a night school teacher who has had bad luck with women. He remains a virgin until his brash cousin Danny, played by Alex Rocco, sets him up with a one-night stand. Soon after, Lionel starts feeling nauseated and vomits, eventually doing so onto Segoina Savaca, played by Joan Prather, one of his immigrant students. This turns out to be a blessing in disguise, as it gives him an excuse to ask her out on a date, and a romance develops. When Lionel meets Segoinia's fortune-telling grandmother, played by Roddy McDowall in drag, she intuits that he's the world's first pregnant man. This results in a series of gags related to his pregnancy and people's reactions to it. One side plot has Lionel being pursued by the army because the president is afraid of what effect the widespread ability of men to conceive will have on population growth. In the ending sequence, which is patterned after the nativity, Lionel finally goes into labor. The camera rises to heaven where God announces to the viewers the successful delivery. Oh my God, it's a girl. Setting up a possible sequel, which it never was. Now, Doris Roberts plays Mrs. Carpenter. You have Billy Barty as Lester, Imogene Coco as Madame Marie, Richard Deacon as the first newscaster, Norman Fell, Fanny Flagg, Alice Ghostley, Roosevelt Greer, George Gobel, Paul Lynde, Roddy McDowall, Sherry North, Tom Posson, Charlotte Ray, Jimmy Walker, Michael Keaton, Joan Rivers, and Ron Rifkin all play bit parts. Tremendous match game cast. Now, when all the major studios turned Rivers down for funding, she raised about half the film's budget by remortgaging her home and convincing her father to do the same, and raised the other half with a series of investment deals. Rivers explained how she got so many cameos on a tiny budget. We had money to spare. I made up a letter. Dear so-and-so, we'd love to have you in a part. There is no money, no point in arguing, etc. All involved did stints for scale, $185, with the bonus if the film made over $18 million. Another $1 million was allotted for promotion and publicity. The film opened in pre-release on February 17, 1978 in 6 cities: Nashville, Rochester, Columbus, Houston, Denver, and Portland, before an official opening on April 7th in LA. Now, Rabbit Test drew negative reviews throughout. Roger Ebert gave it 1 out of 4. Siskel gave it 1.5 out of 4, calling it trivial and tasteless little movie. It's nothing more than a series of tired ethnic insults and vulgar sex jokes. Janet Maisel in the New York Times wrote, Miss Rivers has turned to directing without paying much heed to whether a whole movie constructed from one-liners were even to some of the parts. Variety said, Rivers has a slim concept. It's 4 minutes of 4 setups. Kevin Thomas of the LA Times wrote, this film, sure to be on the year's worst, it's a comedy, but it's really a mystery. The mystery being how a lady is so witty and talented as Rivers has come up with something so crass and unfunny. Gary Arnold of the Washington Post called the film a tiresome farce, full of jokes which fall flat with a dreadful consistency. Now, the film received 1.7 out of 10 by the judges at a 2018 screening at the Sacred Cinema, surpassing Wild Rovers 2.3 to become the lowest rated film to be shown there. Despite the negative reviews, the film made $12 million in its first 4 months. Now, Rivers heavily promoted the film by visiting theaters in Chicago showing it. When she visited the Portage Theater on Chicago's northwest side, she arrived in a limo, told jokes, signed autographs, took photos with fans, and received a standing ovation from theater patrons during her visit. So the question of pure biology, how in the hell did Crystal get pregnant? But in the movies, anything can happen. Now, I saw this movie on TV when it first came out, but the ads for this seem to be more of, are you in on the joke? Like, do you know what's going on? Now, the one-liner in the poster said, "And where do you buy maternity jockey shorts?" As a picture of Rivers as a director person shirt pointing to Billy Crystal with the pregnant. Now, what was kind of ironic, ladies and gentlemen, at the time, Billy Crystal was growing in popularity because he was playing a gay man in love with a former, in real life, Olympic high jump champion. A pole vault champion, Bob Seagram. Okay, and he was looking to get a sex change to please his boyfriend or husband to be. That would have made a better movie. In 2023, that we would think would be better plot. It was taken serious and half comical, because obviously a transgender person turning transition to a woman can't get pregnant, but in his mind, Jody's mind, he could keep the Bob Seagram's character by offering him a woman, where Bob Seagram's character basically didn't want a woman, he just wanted Jody, and it didn't work for both of them. But 1976, with Elton John coming up as bisexual, to the what do you call the Village People movie, Can't Stop the Music, the rumors about now Caitlyn Jenner, her dad Bruce Jenner, being gay was in. You had Personal Best, you had the Lesbian Hammer movies a few years before. Being gay seemed to be more of a trend because of David Bowie, Freddie Mercury, all that, and new wave music, a lot of bisexuals in the industry. But ladies and gentlemen, this movie, Joan Rivers, I respect her. She was a part of the Second City many years ago. She was one of the first major female comedians who made it huge internationally. Joan Rivers, I gave the movie a chance, but I'm only part Jewish. I'm only 1/16. I'm not full Jewish, and I'm not full Borscht, but half the jokes would just fall flat. You're waiting. Like if it was front of like a stage play in front of a live audience, it could have worked. But Billy Crystal as a pregnant man, would you fuck Billy Crystal if you're a woman? No. But if it was Christopher Reeve, or later on that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie when he ended up pregnant, that makes a lot of sense. For example, if you had Jeff Bridges in this movie, that would make a lot of sense. But Jeff Bridges is nice looking. Billy Crystal comes across as a Jewish comedian. He's not sexual. So you have a movie all about sex gone bad, and Billy Crystal is pregnant, and how believable is that? If you're a woman, do you find Billy Crystal sexy? I mean, Harry Met Sally, it didn't work because nobody found Billy Crystal as a sexual person. Billy Crystal has done a lot of movies, not one I think he was sexy in it. But this movie, again, you never see it on TV, you can never see it on video. I rarely see it mentioned. So it really does exist. Joan Rivers directing Billy Crystal, and at the end, God is the last co-star. But the 1970s Match Game cast, I mean, almost every one of the supporting characters were on the Match Game or a game show in the States. If it was not the Match Game, probably, I don't know, the Gong Show or whatever. But seeing a young Doris Roberts, I think she was doing Angie at the time too. I could be wrong. That was that Robert Hayes series that got canceled for no reason. So, ladies and gentlemen, I saw the movie many years ago. I give it 2 out of 4. Just the concept that Billy Crystal and Joan Rivers together, at least 2 stars. But seeing my old favorite Billy Barty, I love Billy Barty as an actor. What he did in The Bazaar made him a household name in Canada. When he was doing the Liberace, parody, he said, "I'm going to play you my favorite song, Blowing in the Wind." And I love Fanny Flagg, and at the time she was still in the closet as well. But let's go over the supporting cast, and I got to do it again. Doris Roberts, Alex Rocco, Billy Barty, Imogene Coco, Richard Deacon, Norman Feld, Fanny Flagg, Alex Ghostley, Rosie Greer, George Goebel, Paul Lynde, Roddy McDowell, Sherry North, Tom Posson, Charlotte Ray, Jimmy Walker, Michael Keaton, and Ron Rifkin. Tremendous. Anyway, if you can find this on DVD or VHS, keep it, because I guess it's a collector's item for certain people. And Avco, again, they were a banking company at high interest that sponsored the WHA and did movie distribution. That was the 1970s for you. So if you like what you're doing here with our Vintage Movie Podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Bye.